welcome to the Nonsensical Podcast. This is episode 5.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Welcome to the Nonsensical Podcast. Two hot guys with even hotter views. Nate, why don't you introduce the podcast for today?
Hey guys, so today we're gonna kind of be talking all over the place. We're gonna start off with travel and kind of places we want to go, places where we've been, so on. We are gonna hit on some questions you guys had in our Discord, which you guys can join if you go ahead and go to our website or social media. The links are all there. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about the NFL and Marvel. So really all over the place today. But before we jump into that, just want to give another shout out for the 5-star reviews we have on Apple Podcasts. No names, but we did see that there's 8 reviews now. So you guys keep reviewing, and we're going to keep shouting you guys out. If you leave some text, we'll say your name, but don't have any names to shout out today. So thank you guys for those reviews. Keep giving us reviews. Keep downloading the podcast. Keep sharing it. We appreciate all your guys' support.
All right, so let's jump right into it with our travel experiences. Let's start with foreign travel. You ever been outside of the U.S., Nate?
I have, yes. And I think the listeners know some of that. Seeing that we met in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, if you hadn't put that one together yet.
Have you been outside of the U.S. and Canada?
No.
Okay. Is that your only time going up north?
Do what?
Is that your only time going to Canada?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my first time.
I've been outside of the country a few times. I've actually been to Canada before, but I'm also like a few hours from the border, so I probably have an advantage in that sense. But I've been in Niagara, so that's about the only other part of Canada I've been to. I want to go to Nova Scotia someday because it's pretty up there, and that's also not that far. But no, so Niagara and Calgary are the two, and then I've also been to the Bahamas. So in let's see, what year did we go together? That was 2019. So in 2018, I went to the Bahamas on a short-term missions trip. We stayed in a tiny little, it looked, it's kind of weird. Not like a jail, but like really kind of sketchy looking building. But we stayed there, no air conditioning, kind of like in a lower income area, and it was good. We helped a church out. Lots and lots of Haitians there, believe it or not. That's probably the biggest like ethnic group in the Bahamas. But no, it was fun. Didn't get to see much of like the touristy side. Like people think like, oh, you went to the Bahamas on a mission trip. Like how awful could that be? It was actually, I mean, believe it or not, it was actually pretty bad. A lot of the Haitian refugees live in these little like, what do they call them? Shanty towns, I think was the word. It's basically like a little shack. So they'll take plywood and sheet metal and they'll make like a bunch of houses in one big cluster, and they kind of live in these tiny little rooms that are the size of like a bedroom or something. So it's really sad. I mean, it's awesome to see people going there and reaching out to them and like sending aid there. But like, imagine going through a hurricane in a house made of 4 pieces of plywood, dirt floor, and a metal roof. You know?
Yeah, that would be inconceivable. Just my goodness, that's a good point you touched on there. Is, you know, a lot of people think whenever mission trips, now I've never been on a mission trip down to a country like that I don't know, would Bahamas be considered a third world? I mean, clearly from what you just said,
I mean,
it would be, but
parts of it, I mean, it's, you can still go to Walmart. You can still, I mean, it's not, I don't know. I don't know what's considered like first, second, third world, like what exactly it has to be. But I mean, you have Atlantis, you have the big resort there. You can go and shop and go to the casino and all that. But
so it's like it's a partially developed country. We can go.
Yeah.
A lot of people assume, you know, you go to these partially developed countries, in Nicaragua, the ones that have resort places. and they think, oh, well, it can't be that bad. You're going on a mission trip to this beautiful place, but you're really not. If anything, from the mission's perspective, and you may really disagree with this, I would argue that from the mission's perspective, it would be harder in a place like Canada a place like Canada to really plant the seeds of the gospel, because in the places, I'm contradicting what I just said. I just realized that. In the places that are underdeveloped like that, they've reached a certain breaking point, and they're looking for something to rely on. I think places like Canada, they have prosperity. And I think that can make it a harder market to penetrate, if you will.
Yeah, I could
agree with that completely.
I don't know. No, I mean, I think it depends on the area too. Like you would say, like Calgary, like Jeremy talked about in our last podcast, but people in Calgary they have a lot of stuff, and it's not that like there's anything wrong with that, but people in Calgary are generally well off compared to someone in maybe Laurel, Mississippi, or Pataskala, Ohio. So I mean, it might be harder to share that with someone there rather than someone that lives in a shack in the Bahamas or something like that. But I mean, on the other side, if you were to go on missions to like, I don't know, Indonesia or somewhere over there in Far East, you might run into someone that has a completely different view of the world and the afterlife and like spiritual type stuff. I mean, it's hard. I feel like it is pretty hard to minister to someone who is a Muslim or a Buddhist or someone like that. And I've met and I've had relationships with people like that. It's just a very different perspective, And I feel like that's where it starts to get a little more complicated. But in the Bahamas, I believe their major, I'm trying to think of what they had told us. There is a good amount of Christianity. I think there's some voodoo because there's a lot of people coming from just the Caribbean in general. I think outside of Christianity, most of the other major ones were all like, I don't know if this sounds better, but like the tribal type of religions, like the ones that are very like old feeling, aren't as commonplace as some of the ones you might see in the U.S.
I'm sorry, I was just looking up. I was looking up some of the religious demographic in there. It's mainly Protestant, but they have a small number of Bahamians and Haitians practice obeah, a form of African shamanism.
Yeah. So that, I mean, shamanism, I guess,
is Rastafarians as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting group for sure.
Oh yeah, it's never easy to go into a community and spread the gospel. I mean, you're gonna have your challenges in every community, but I understand what you're saying. And this was completely off subject. Today's off subject rant was brought to you by my ADD.
Yeah, we're talking about travel, but I mean, it's always fun to see where conversation goes. Anyways, though, back on the topic, where do you want to travel next, Sam?
All right, so I'm trying to think where I want to travel next. I mean, like I'm planning a trip to the mountains in a couple of months, but
are you?
As far as a particular state that I haven't been to yet that I want to travel to, next one. Let's say, I've been to DC and I've been to all that, but I was a long time ago. I really like to go back to see, the things I didn't appreciate before. And depending on your view, maybe they won't be there in a few years.
Yeah, DC's a fun one. That's closer to me, so it's probably something that I've gone to more often than you have. But it's definitely a fun place to go to. I want to go somewhere with like pretty scenery next. So the ones that I have 3, I guess, but that's Hawaii, Northern Michigan, and Maine. Which Northern Michigan, if you've seen it, is like basically
But
Canada. I mean, the UP, the top part of
for
the UP is really pretty, but it's far up
for
there.
Mackinac Island, isn't it? Isn't it Northern Michigan?
Mackinac is between the Lower Peninsula and Upper Peninsula. It's an island in the middle.
Was it Mackinac? I thought it was Mackinac.
Well, it's spelled Mackinac. It's pronounced Mackinac, but yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. You Northerners do things overcomplicated up there.
The Midwestern accent, you know.
You're pretty close to Northern Michigan, aren't you? I mean, I know you're
Northern
relatively
Michigan, no.
close
So like
to
the UP is like an 11-hour drive. If I were to go to like the sand dunes on the western side of Michigan, I think it's like a 3.5, 4-hour drive, because I know it's about 3 to the sand dunes in Indiana. But if I'm going to the Upper Peninsula, it's like 11 hours.
How big that? So you're the same difference from the Upper Peninsula as I am in southern Mississippi from you.
Yeah.
Wow. I think you're actually a little further. I think I'm only technically like 9 hours from you.
Well, there's
I didn't
also
realize that Ohio and Michigan were that wide.
there's also a lot of freeways, and it's very fast coming from you to me. Like when I went on my honeymoon, it was only like a 7-hour drive, and we were almost in South Carolina, like the Georgia side of South Carolina. But I mean, there's like a single road up there, and it's all Michigan's big. Don't get me wrong, and Ohio's pretty big too, but I think a lot of it's just the roads themselves. Because I mean, getting from Ohio to Michigan is probably to that side, to that part of Michigan at least, like through Toledo, is probably at least 2 hours, maybe 2.5.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. That makes a little bit more sense. I know why you want to go to Hawaii.
Why?
You want to go see Luke.
Well, yeah, our buddy Luke is there. But no, I mean, hey, he said I could stay with him. I fly for free. Why wouldn't I go?
My God. That's like your dream vacation. Free flight, free stay.
Yeah, I'm real cheap. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know that, but Sam knows I'm very cheap. I never buy anything full price. And then the other one's Maine, just because of Acadia National Park.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to go see like the woods in northern Maine.
Yep.
Where you have to like check in, and then there's nothing.
Yep. Nothing for hundreds and hundreds of miles.
I don't want to stay there. I just want to look at it and.
I want to stay there. I would like to camp out there.
That's how horror movies start, Nate.
Hey, you know where what's his name is from? Who wrote it?
Stephen King. King.
Stephen King's from Maine. Everything but The Shining is based in Maine.
Mm-hmm. Where's The Shining at?
It's based in Colorado. It was actually inspired by the Banff Springs Hotel, which I saw when we were up in Canada. You guys didn't want to see it, but I stopped there with my family.
I saw the outside of it. I didn't see the inside.
Oh yeah, we did drive by it, but no, I walked inside. I went to the.
That was close enough for me.
I went to the wall. I went to the wall where there used to be a room, and they drywalled over top of it. You can see the wallpaper, like where the wallpaper stops, and there's like a 4-foot section where you can tell there used to be something there, but they put wallpaper over top of it, and like the floorboards there's cut, and if you go around the side, because like the building's like a big U, so if you go around to one of the other like corridors, you can look out a window and see like, oh, there's definitely a window there with boards on it, but you can't get in that room.
Yeah, there's probably a reason. If I had to get
back in the day, I guess what happened was a guy, I don't remember the entire full story, but basically he killed his wife and kid and then committed suicide in that room. And I forget like the reasoning behind it and all that, but that's what inspired The Shining, was that room in the Banff Springs Hotel.
I mean, yeah, that's some pretty solid inspiration. Getting off of that subject, let's talk about some of our bucket list travel.
You want me to go first? You want to go?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
All right. So I have a couple. Some of them are kind of just minor points. So like I do want to go to the Holy Land at some point, like Jerusalem and all that. I do want to go to Greece, which is because of all like the old buildings there. Same with the Italian countryside. I just think it's pretty.
Yeah.
The one that I want to go to most, I think, is New Zealand, because I want to walk the Lord of the Rings trail and climb up Mount Mordor, which sounds super nerdy, I'm aware. But New Zealand.
Oh, I've got a
sounds
nerdy
good.
one that I haven't listed on there yet.
What are yours?
All right, so mine, I want to go to Italy for the food.
Okay.
I want to
Fair
go.
enough.
Of course, I want to go to Rome and I want to go to the Vatican, but I want to go on the hillsides and I want to have some good pasta.
Oh my god.
That is, for those that listen to the podcast that know me personally, they know that 90% of my vacations, I'm planning a vacation right now, and my mom has had to tell me that we're not planning the vacation around food, and I am
Oh my gosh.
in the middle of a heated argument about that. My vacations are planned around places to eat. So that would be the entirety of the Italy trip, would just be all the
Food.
good food play. Of course, Israel, and then
Yeah.
Scotland and Ireland. I want to go see the golf courses. Just everything about it. I love it. But my nerd one that I haven't listed is I want to go. The only reason I would want to go to California is to go to the Redwood Forest where they shot the scenes from Endor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. They shot those there. But no, I just want to go to the Redwood Forest in general.
Yeah, the only reason I know that is the Parks and Recreation episode where they're in the Redwood Forest and Ben says, "Oh my gosh, I'm on Endor." Freaking out, yeah.
Star Wars, for those of you that don't watch Star Wars.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The Star Wars, the Star Wars, was that A New Hope or whatever? I don't know. It was where the Ewoks were.
It was Empire Strikes Back. Was that number 6?
It was one of the original 3. I just don't remember. Return of the Jedi. I thought it was the Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. That was 6. Yeah, it was New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, then Return of the Jedi.
Yes, it was definitely Return of the Jedi. But yeah, no, it's really pretty there. I do want to see those a lot. I want to see the ones that are like big enough you can drive through. Those sound sweet.
Oh yeah, the ones you drive under. Yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of cool. I don't want to. I feel like it would fall though. I know it's not going to.
Oh
I
yeah.
have irrational fear of it falling.
Oh no. I understand. I would have anxiety driving through it the entire time. I'm like, oh man.
Hold it. Oh, alrighty then. What's next?
Where have we been in country? So in the States, what I guess before I hit that first question, how many of the states have you been to?
Let me count.
An estimate. You don't have to know the exact number unless you do.
Oh, I can probably count on 2 hands. I've been to Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Georgia. That's 6. Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana. I haven't been to Arkansas. New York, North Carolina, South Carolina. Maryland, Virginia. That's it.
I was looking up a map while you were talking because I'm trying to figure out how many I've been to.
A few years ago, me and my mom decided to try to go to all 50 states.
Yeah.
And we got a pretty good handle on the southern ones. It's the northern ones that have eluded us. Yeah.
All right, let's see. So I'm going to count on my hands and then say the number at the end. So Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, West Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Indiana, Illinois. I've been to Texas. I've been to Colorado. I've been to Nevada. 20. I'm up to 20.
Hey. I can't believe
Almost
you've been
halfway.
all the way to Alabama, but you haven't been to Mississippi or Louisiana.
Those are 2 pretty forgettable states, you know.
They're 2 of the greatest states in our great union.
No, I went to Alabama on a mission trip back in the day. That's why I haven't been there.
Oh, well, they need it.
It's not like I have my own car or anything.
Oh.
I might be going back to Alabama in a week because I need to. Jess and I have a wedding in Florida, in Destin.
Yeah.
And I was looking at flights, and there's a flight into Mobile, and it's only about an hour and a half drive from Mobile to Destin.
Yeah, no, it's not a very far drive. When are you flying in?
Friday. Friday the wedding's on Halloween, so it must be Friday the 30th.
Ooh.
Why?
No, just nothing. We'll talk about it off podcast.
Oh my gosh.
It's not a very far drive from where I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. What was I gonna? So what's next? So since we got that, our
state
favorite
outside of
state
our-
outside. All right, I'll let you take this one. I already know your answer, but I'll let you take it.
Yeah. I mean, Michigan, I have Florida and Michigan down. Michigan is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Outside, once you get past Detroit and Ann Arbor, those are both gross cities. But outside of those, Michigan's beautiful. But probably Florida. I mean, Sam knows. I basically half grew up in Florida when I was younger. I was down there half the months out of the year. So I claim to be half Floridian. I love Florida because of that, but it's also very hot. And if you know me at all, you know that I can't handle heat. I need to move to Alaska or something because I hate the heat. But no, I do love Florida. I have family all over: St. Augustine, Naples, Tampa, Clearwater. I mean, everywhere. And I've been all over the state, and I will continue to go back until the day I die.
So mine's gonna be a three-way tie. Nate's gonna like one of them.
Ohio.
So I'm gonna say it's a three-way tie between Florida, Tennessee, and Ohio.
Hey,
Yeah,
go Bucks.
I enjoy Ohio. I like Columbus. I've been there twice now. It's a good city. It's a fun city. There's a lot of diversity. I grew up going to Tennessee and Florida each one at least once a year. We usually went to the mountains in the fall and the beach in the summer. So it's nostalgia, if nothing else.
Florida beaches aren't bad. I mean, Jess, she'll probably be mad at me for saying this, but she's been to North Carolina, South Carolina beaches, and I'm like, why? If you're driving, just keep driving to Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. That's like a litter box.
I don't understand I like the beaches with the sand that you can go lay down on. I don't like the ones that like the black sand beaches and stuff. They just don't look fun.
Oh no, I do want to go to a black sand beach. I never have, but I do want to do that.
I mean, I've seen it. It just looks weird to me.
Really?
Yeah, the ones that have cliff sides just look weird to me because I grew up with the white sand beaches.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up
throw a towel down.
I grew up going to St. Augustine beaches, which St. Augustine's got the muddiest water, but I mean, they're pretty beaches. I mean, Flagler Beach is 15, 20 minutes from St. Augustine, and it's just straight shells. There's no sand; it's just shells.
Yeah. Was that the sand? Was that the stuff from your wedding? The
Coquina.
Was that Coquina?
Yeah. So for my wedding, for the listeners, I instead of doing a unity candle, Jess and I both poured sand into a jar. It's a symbolic thing, but no, it was sand from. I think it was. I don't know if it was Flagler or St. Augustine Beach by the pier, but no, my grandpa lived down there in St. Augustine, but he passed away in 2008. But no, he would bring up these bags of sand for my family because we just missed being down there in Florida. So we have trash bag after trash bag just full of sand in a little tiny grain silo we have at my parents' house. And a ridiculous amount of slate as well because we replaced the roof on the barn. That's all that's in there. Piles of slate and bags of sand. You think that we're these weird hoarders or something with the stuff we have.
Yeah, the morning of the wedding, we walked in there for the rehearsal, and I thought somebody had forgotten their bowl of Frosted Flakes on the table.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah, I say sand
That's
sparingly.
the sand. I said, "That's not sand."
No, that's what. And actually, this is a fun fact. I love St. Augustine. I could talk about St. Augustine all day. But back in the day when Ponce de Leon founded St. Augustine, it was the 1500s, not early. It was mid to late 1500s. I think 1563 is when he founded it. And because it was so old, they had to find a way to build the houses because they didn't have the same technology we have today. So they built out of coquina. That's why I said coquina. That's what they called it. It was a mixture of sand and cement and shells. So a lot of the old buildings and old walls and stuff you see down there that are original to the town are made out of coquina. So you can just rub your hand across it and you can feel the shells in there. And it's actually really cool. But
that's kind of cool. I'd like to see that one day.
Yeah, St. Augustine's a tourist trap now, but it's still a pretty pretty town.
Yeah, that's where the World Golf Hall of Fame is.
Kind of. It's north. They have. I don't know if it is or not.
Oh,
But
that's St. Petersburg. I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Well, there is a huge golf. There's a place, I think it's called World Golf or something like that. I don't know. It's like basically an entire town they built north of St. Augustine. It's really weird. See if I can look it up real quick. But it's like you stay in their hotels, you eat their food, you golf on their courses. It's a really strange thing they've done. World Golf. Let me look it up. St. Augustine. It is called World Golf Village. I was right.
That is it. I thought that St. Petersburg. I thought it was in St. Petersburg.
No, that is the Hall of Fame you're
no,
talking
St.
about?
Petersburg is on the wrong side of the state.
Yeah, it is. It's on the other side. I knew that.
Named after Russia? What? We got a commie city right down in Florida. Dang commies.
Favorite state, we did that. So what about, have you been to any big cities?
Yeah, I've been New York, if you count Nashville.
That show was pretty big.
Columbus, Georgia, Atlanta, I mean. OKC, Houston, Dallas.
Okay, so you've been to some.
Calgary. Yeah.
You've been to a good amount, actually.
Been to a few.
Do you have a favorite?
I enjoyed New York, but I would never live there or stay there for a very extended amount of time.
Yeah.
I really like Nashville. I may be biased, but I enjoy the southern big cities more than I do, your Atlanta, Nashville. I do, because you go somewhere like New York and it's beautiful, it's historic, got a lot of great places to eat, but the price of living and everything is so high that we were paying $100 a night for a hotel that looked like a Motel 6. It was beautiful. It was in Times Square, but it was awful. There were roaches everywhere. I think I'm still being haunted from it.
Oh my gosh.
The TV was from the 80s. I'm not even joking. I looked it up. It was manufactured in the 80s. So it's a great city, but you go somewhere like Nashville and pay $100 a night for a room, you're staying in the top floor of the Hilton. And I know there's not as much historical significance, but there's still a lot of fun stuff to do in Nashville. A lot of fun stuff to do places like that.
I guess. Yeah, I've been to Nashville. I just thought Nashville was, unless you're going to Nashville to drink, I feel like Nashville is very boring. Because that's like all there is. There's bar after bar after bar. And I mean, there's good food there, but I feel like there's nothing there besides food and drinks.
Well, they have a soccer team now. They got the Predators and they got the Titans.
They do soccer,
yeah, sports. They get a good draw of the presidential debate was in Nashville last night.
Yeah, it was.
So they also get a good draw of Broadway plays that tour. Hamilton was there maybe a year ago. They did a little bit of a stay.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've got some other stuff, but yeah, you're right. They do have a lot of bars, a lot of.
I also went there when I was like 17 or something, so I'm probably biased because I was also on like a school trip, so I couldn't do much. But I had like 5 or 6 days to do literally nothing because I went for a DECA competition, so it was like an international DECA thing, and I was part of a group, but I wasn't one of the ones presenting, so I had nothing to do for like 5 days. So I just kind of wandered around the city on my own, did my own thing, which was fun, but I just feel like I wasn't able to do much because I was so young.
To me, Nashville has some of the best unexpected good food. Because every time I go somewhere that I expect to get good food in Nashville, I get terrible food. I went to that, I don't know if you've heard of it, Biscuit Love. I think I told you about this.
I don't know if I have or not.
It's this biscuit place in Nashville, and it's supposed to be super good. It was on one of the Food Network shows, maybe Best Thing I Ever Ate. It was terrible. The coffee was like $9 a cup. It was great coffee, but $9, and my meal was like $23, and all I got was a biscuit and a coffee. Yeah. And the biscuit was terrible. It was the worst biscuit I've ever had in my life. I've had McDonald's biscuits better than that one.
Hey, McDonald's has good breakfast. Don't knock McDonald's.
But that being said, whenever I go somewhere in Nashville and just don't expect anything out of the food, it turns out to be amazing. I went to this food truck that did barbecue the first time I was there. Oh my gosh. It was the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. And they had, I don't know if you ever heard of fruit tea, which you may be thinking is just tea with fruit. It is way more than that. And I was not expecting what I got out of it.
Like
it was amazing.
tea?
They manufacture it, they bottle it, they brew it and bottle it in Franklin, Tennessee, I think. But it's like an even mix of fruit juice and tea, and it is just phenomenal.
That sounds pretty good. That's making me thirsty and hungry. I don't eat breakfast most of the time, so I'm getting hungry.
Oh, yeah. I get up early. I ate breakfast at like 5:30 this morning.
Oh.
I get going early.
Yeah, that's really early.
Yeah. I usually get up about 5, then make breakfast, try to get to the gym by 6:30, and then get my day going from there. I have enjoyed, because of the way that my house is set up, I share a bathroom with my mom, but it's like a big bathroom. But it's still crowded whenever we're both trying to get dressed in the morning. So it's worked out great now that I've started going back to the gym, because I go work out, and while I'm working out, she's gone by the time I get back to the house. And then I have the bathroom all to myself to get ready at my leisure.
That works out.
Yeah, that works out, and that's that is ADD rant number 2.
Yeah, we're all over the place, but it's fine. This podcast was going to be a little out there just because of the topics we had. Do we want to move on to some questions from Discord?
Yep. I think it's about time.
Awesome. So the first one we have, let's see. What are some stupid ways we've gotten hurt? And that was Tuesday that asked that one. Do you want to go first, Sam? I see you.
I'll let you field it.
All right. We'll save the best for last. That works. So I don't really know of a stupid way I got hurt. I was trying to think when we were talking before we started recording. The dumbest one I can think of is my senior year of high school. I think it was either the first game of the season for volleyball or the last preseason game, but it was right before our season started. I was playing against, I don't know, some school with money around us. I don't know who it was, but it was a bigger school. The kids were big, just a big dude. I went up to block, and the guy hit. I jumped. I blocked. If you know anything about volleyball form, when you block, you're supposed to keep your hands together and form like a W with your hands. And when you jump, your feet kind of do the same thing. So your feet stay together, and then they're you kind of kick them out. And it's hard to explain, but basically your feet kind of go out. And then if you don't know how to land right, you land under the net. Well, I blocked this guy, came down. I was barely on my side of the net, but the guy that hit didn't know how to land. His feet were under the net. So when I landed, my ankle twisted all the way backwards and upside down. And it was I've injured my ankle dozens and dozens of times in my life. I couldn't stand up for the life of me. And I usually walk off pretty much every injury. I couldn't stand up. And my buddy Logan, who's at the time was 5'2" and 105 pounds, came on the court, grabbed me, threw me over his shoulder, and drug me across the court to the bench, and then drug me onto the bus later on. But no, it was a stupid injury. I didn't play volleyball the rest of the season. I played senior night, and that was about it. But stupid injury that shouldn't happen. But it wasn't me doing anything dumb. I was just playing, and I don't know. Your story is much better. Sam's laughing thinking about it. It looks like.
All right. So my story takes place in Gulf Shores, Alabama. And the guy that is involved in this story, I highly doubt he listens, but anytime I bring it up, he will double over in laughter from this. So growing up, 2 of my friends, and they were friends of my parents too, had condos within in the same community in Gulf Shores. So sometimes we'd go down there and stay with one of them and have a big vacation together. So on one of these particular occasions. I was 15 at the time, and most golf course policies are you can't rent a cart until you're old enough to drive. But for some reason, the person working the pro shop that morning decided to give the group of 15-year-olds carts. So, as happens when you give a group of 15-year-old carts, we decided to start racing. We would race from the green of one hole to the tee of the next. We had already gotten some heat from the golf course superintendent. He had started following us, and it was very obvious. Mainly because I had to throw the cart into like a Tokyo Drift style stop that was teetering inches from the edge of this like 8-foot deep ditch.
Oh my god!
So we'd already gotten some heat. Anyway, so on one of the holes, me and one of the other guys are putting out, and the other two have already gotten in the driver's seat and everything. And I had already taken the key out of the other cart and put it on top of the roof. They hadn't noticed. A little trick for you. And so I ran and just jumped and stood on the bag part on the back, where you can hold the bag. And so it's something I've done a million times since. I just hopped on, grabbed the back railing, and was holding on. Well, we get to the next hole, and I start to step off because we were at the next hole. Well, he decided he hadn't gone far enough. And so I get one foot on the ground, the other one's still in like a crevice, kind of lodged in there. And he just takes off. And it flips me. I go feet first up in the air and land on my head on the like asphalt path.
Oh my gosh.
So I come to, and I'm just kind of like looking around, and they're all gathered around me. And they were like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Not really." No. I tried to keep playing, but we ended up going in. I mean, I never got diagnosed with a concussion, but that's the closest I've ever come to a concussion. I probably shouldn't have slept after that, but, I turned out all right. That you can attribute the brain damage to that.
Oh my god!
You can attribute my random rants to that.
The ADHD rants or ADD? I don't know which one you said.
Oh, same one, same difference. They're both.
They go hand in hand,
Great, I'm gonna get heat from the ADD community now. They're not the same.
Oh my gosh!
All right.
Well,
so
thank you Tuesday for that question. Next one from Cheesecake. Funny stories that we have is what she asked for. I think we only have one, but it's about both of us.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So
I'll let you
right,
take it.
Right.
I'll take the certain part that that I'm gonna take.
All right, that's fine. So we're up in Calgary, and I think we had done a camp that day. So it was maybe like 65, 70. Like I was comfortable in shorts and a t-shirt, but I'm also always warm. So some of them might have been wearing like a jacket or a windbreaker or something. So, but it was warm most of the day. It was sunny. Some of them were sunburnt. Pretty nice day. We get back to SAIT, which is the school that we're staying at. And we go to change. Jeremy's like, "Hey, we have a food truck block party type thing going on. We have to help out this night. This other church doesn't have enough people. They asked us to help. We're going to go help them." We're like, "Okay, cool. Sounds good. Whatever. Food trucks, good food, hang out with friends. Sure." It's like maybe 2 or 3 o'clock at this point. So we go to SAIT, we change, we get our stuff ready. We leave by maybe like 5 or 6, and we walk outside, and we're like, "Oh, it's a little chilly out. Sky's getting dark. You can tell there's a storm coming in." We're like, maybe I should grab a hoodie. So I grabbed like a quarter zip. One of them grabbed something. But we're still in shorts and a t-shirt for the most part. And it's July. So we're like, oh, it's warm. Whatever. We jump in the truck, drive about half an hour, 45 minutes north to where Connect Church is, their little community. And we get out of the truck, and it is probably 35 or 40 degrees. I'm a little chilly, and I never get cold. Some of them are like shivering. Some of their teeth are clacking. And one of them is, I think Audrey was sunburnt. So you guys are like dying. We're like, okay, whatever. We're cold. We're going to do it. We're going to get through it. It's fine. And so we go, I park the truck. We go get food from some food trucks. And then we go and start like our shifts because we all have different things we're supposed to be helping out at. I'm doing face painting. I'm not at all an artist, so I don't know why they put me on that. But I'm doing face painting. Sam, I think, was doing like a welcome thing. I don't really remember.
No, I
We
was
were all-
doing gift baskets, trying to get people to sign up for raffle baskets.
That's what it was, yeah. So we're all just kind of spaced out all over the place. Well, no more than like 15, 20 minutes into this thing, it starts snowing. Like snow and hail and sleet and slush. We're like, what the heck? Like it's mid-July and it is like 30 degrees and snowing, and most of us are in shorts and a t-shirt.
I had a rain jacket on. A rain jacket with absolutely no insulation.
So we're dying here. We're ready to leave. But before we go, we're like, oh, okay, we're going to get some food from the food trucks. Have to get something. So I get pierogies. I think Sarah got pierogies. Some of them got, like, there was a lot of food. There was lots of good stuff. Sam decides to get empanadas, which sound great. I mean, it's basically empanada if you guys have never had it. It's like a dough pocket filled with meat, which is good. I mean, a lot of people eat that for breakfast or whatever meal. It's just a really simple, easy meal, and it's not really something you can mess up. Sam gets empanadas, and I'll let Sam tell.
Not something you can mess up.
I'll let Sam tell the rest of the story.
So, I'm going to take you into more detail than I've ever taken anyone with the story. Usually, I leave it with "Don't eat the empanadas in Canada." So I got this empanada, and I had a great conversation with the Panamanian woman that was serving them. Now, first of all, this isn't like a food truck you would see in most places. This is a trailer. This is a white trailer with no markings. And they had bottled Mexican Coke as the drink. That was the only drink they had, which was amazing. So I get a bottled Mexican Coke and these empanadas. I got chicken and cheese empanadas. I go sit down on the side of the hill to start eating them. I take a bite into it. Well, I got one chicken and cheese and one beef and cheese, I think. Take a bite into it. It's got like olives and stuff. For those of you listening that don't know, I am not a vegetable person. I gag when I eat vegetables. I do my best to eat them because I know they're healthy for me, but I don't like it. And I especially don't like olives. So there's like olives and onions and all this stuff in there. So I just put the chicken and cheese one down and I eat the beef and cheese one. So, it's going all right. I down the Mexican Coke, throw everything away, go back to my booth, and we're breaking it down and we're about to leave. So we leave, and I had some of those. They had these donuts that came in a bucket. You remember the cinnamon sugar ones?
Yeah, yep. They're like kind of like 10 bits.
Yeah, kind of like 10 bits. And so I'd had a few of those. So we get in the truck and we go back to the room. I get back there and take a hot shower and everything. I think we played some board games and stuff.
Yeah.
I go to sleep. I wake up about 1 a.m. I run to the bathroom. I make it just in time. Puke, just like perfect Kobe shot from across the bathroom into the toilet.
Oh my gosh.
And I stayed up from 1 till about 4 that morning, just, normal stomach virus stuff. What I thought was a stomach virus stuff. So
I
that
was
was
asleep the entire time.
I feel like that was on Saturday night because church.
It was a Saturday.
No. That was on a Thursday night because the next day was Friday. We had Friday off. You and Sarah didn't. I think you had a youth thing you were going to.
Oh, okay.
So you were gone all day Friday, and the girls were
that sounds right.
doing their own thing.
Yep.
So I was cleaning the apartment and I think I was watching Ghostbusters. So I get to feeling better, and I decide about 6 o'clock that night that I'm going to go to Carl's Jr. and get me a burger because it's like right there. I don't really have the desire to go across town to get something to eat. So I go to Carl's Jr. I pick up a cheeseburger, go back, watch some Netflix, and eat my cheeseburger. I'm feeling all right. I go to bed that night, and I wake up about 11 o'clock, and I run to the bathroom. Same deal all over again. Nate wakes up about 6 that morning, walks in. I am asleep on the toilet.
Yep.
He just looked at me and he said, "You all right?" I said, "Not really. I'm not going to church."
Yep.
He said, "Okay." Well, it turns out, I mean, I never got it diagnosed, but from every doctor and nurse I've talked to since being back, turns out it was probably food poisoning.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's from the empanada or the Mexican Coke, but don't eat the empanadas in Canada.
Moral of the story.
Basic line there. So thanks for that question, Cheesecake.
Yep.
I like that name. I get happy every time I see that name just because I love cheesecake. Not in particular. I mean, the person's cool too, but I just like cheesecake.
We have a spaghetti warehouse here. So in Canada we had Spaghetti Factory, which is like a big Italian restaurant. And anyways, we have Spaghetti Warehouse here in Columbus, which is really good, like authentic Italian food. And Jess tells me all the time they're run by the mafia. She's wrong, but very, very Italian place in an old railroad, like ticket place, like a waiting room type thing. But it's like this huge, I don't even know how to begin to explain this place, but it's a beautiful building. Like it's been there forever. Anyways, they had this cheesecake this past weekend we got. Oh my gosh. They had a Reese's and an Oreo, and they messed up my order, so they gave us both for free. So I'm like, oh. I assume the Reese's is going to be better. I'm not a huge chocolate person, so I'm like, Oreo, whatever. I take a bite of this thing. Oh my gosh. I could have ordered like 6 more pieces and eaten all of them. It was so good.
Oh. Wow. I like Cheesecake Factory. That's usually my go-to cheesecake. You know,
Cheesecake Factory is pretty good.
I don't know. We had a really good place here in Laurel that used to do good cheesecake, but they've closed.
Like a local place.
So it's sad. Do what?
Said like a local place.
Yeah, they were a little local restaurant. The food wasn't that good, but the cheesecake was really good. Well, I guess we have another local place. It's about 30 minutes from me that does good cheesecake.
That's not too bad.
But I digress.
Next question. So this one is from, if you're in the Discord, his name is Plays. He also gave us a review a while back, so I know his name's Briar. But a question from him, what are our favorite TV shows? Sam, I'll let you go first.
Oh, he'll let me go first because I have the boring ones. My two favorite rewatchable shows are West Wing and Daredevil. Right now, I'm in the middle of watching Madam Secretary. It's just like it's network television. It's safe. It's not like 1 second you're gonna be having a whole scene and the next second just blood and guts everywhere, which is an homage to the last show I watched, which was The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Oh my gosh.
If you are old enough, it is mature content. I will give that. That is okay. So this is a funny story. So going back to that last question. So The Dirt, whenever it came out on Netflix, for those of you who don't know, it's the documentary on the Motley Crue.
Oh, okay.
It was a decent film in my opinion. And so I recommended it to my uncle. What I forgot to mention is that the first 3 minutes of that movie is just an absolutely grotesque party scene.
Oh my god.
It is terrible. So he turns it on with his wife.
Oh my gosh.
And he called me. He said, "What have you recommended me?" So I give that warning to every show now that has some bad scenes in it. But The Boys is an overall really good show. It's like a dystopian superhero show. I'll add that to my favorite TV shows list. Second season was a little bit boring. The first season was really good. So I'll pass it over to you.
For me, I have 3. One of them, I guess I'll give the same disclaimer. Kind of. I mean, Dexter is the one I'm thinking of. Dexter's a great show. I think it's 8 seasons, but they just announced last week that they're supposed to be making either a follow-up season or something in the same universe as Dexter. But I guess Showtime's bringing it back, apparently. So that was surprise news to every Dexter fan. But no, Dexter's a great show. The other 2 I have, I guess one is pretty easy. It's The Office. Everyone likes The Office. Yeah. If I this morning when I was getting ready, I had The Office on in the background. It's just a great show. Yeah. All around, great show. The other one is Letterkenny. Now, Sam knows what I'm talking about when I say Letterkenny. A lot of people don't know Letterkenny. It is the best way I can describe it is a Canadian version of The Office, but it's based around a small town. It is hilarious. There's 7 seasons.
It is a good show.
6 seasons, okay. It's not the greatest. You could probably just skip it, but everything else is great. Even like just watch the first 5 minutes of the show and you'll be hooked. It's hilarious. I will say there is some language, so be careful, but it is a great show. I will watch it again and again and again and never get tired of it. It's on Hulu, and if you guys have like a VPN, you can watch it on Netflix as well. The Canadian Netflix has it. I know that. Maybe the European ones as well. This show is sponsored by
it's on Hulu.
The show is sponsored by NordVPN.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Kidding. No, it is on. I said it's on Hulu. Yeah, but if you don't have Hulu, then it's on Netflix if you get a VPN too.
Yeah, it is. I like VPN Netflix. It's more fun than regular Netflix. Has a lot more on it.
If you guys don't know what we mean when we say that, so VPN basically you can hide where your IP address is coming from on a computer, so you can pretend like you're in another country. And if Netflix thinks you're in like Canada or England or Germany or something, you get a lot more stuff. Even like the Canadian Netflix has a ton of stuff that the American one doesn't. It's definitely worth checking out and trying at least once.
It is that now. Alrighty then. So, thanks, Plays, for that question. Now we move on to our last of the viewer questions. What was your first vehicle, and do you miss it? I'll let you field this one first, Nate, because I know it's an easy question for you.
Yeah, I think we both still have our first vehicle, so we're only I guess going to answer half this question. But my first vehicle was a 2001 Mitsubishi Montero Limited. Basically, it's like the best way I can describe it. The Germans used it as their version of a Humvee. So it is a very large, heavy vehicle, but it's fun. It has a V6 in it, and it's got like the auto manual thing, so I can jump over from automatic to manual and just shift. No, but she's fun. I call her Michelle. That's what I name her. She's not in service right now because I need to replace all of the rotors and brake pads all the way around. But I still have her.
You were supposed to do that like 2 months ago when I was there.
Hey, I got married. I have an excuse. I've been busy.
I have an excuse for not having proper brakes on my car. Thank you very much.
I have another car. It's fine. I've been driving the little Civic my grandma sold me.
Oh my gosh. Actually, so I do have to clarify because my uncle has been spreading fake news on the Discord server. Malarkey, if you will. If you are Joe Biden, malarkey. So I do not have my first car. My first car was a little black B250 Mazda truck. You know the ones I'm talking about? It looks like a Ford Ranger.
Yes. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
All right. So that truck, it was my brother. My brother's 8 years older than me. It was my brother's truck. So my parents told me when I was about 14, because I have wanted to drive my entire life. Like, just looking forward to the day that I would get to drive consumed most of my thoughts from about 10 to 15. So around 14, my parents told me that was going to be my first vehicle. So I polished that thing. I worked so hard on the inside cleaning it out. It was a mess. So I took care of that thing until I started driving, and it was a great truck. I miss it so much. We sold it probably 2-3 years ago to somebody looking for like a little camp truck, a little hunting camp truck to just drive around. But it was great. It had like a little CD player in it, but it didn't have any aux cord or anything. So I would always listen to my phone with just stick the phone in the cup holder and put my music on. But I have so many great memories of driving to Waffle House in that truck on Wednesday mornings.
Oh my
Every
gosh.
Wednesday I would meet my best friend from high school. I would meet him every Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock at Waffle House. We would eat Waffle House, and then we'd go to school, which was a terrible idea at the time. Because, if you don't know about Waffle House, it kind of goes through you fast. So about the time we got to school, I'd have to run in there to the bathroom before going to class. But yeah, so many great memories. It was a Standard, so that's another bit of fake news that I don't know how to drive a Standard. I do know how to drive a Standard. I actually prefer a Standard. I wish that my car was a Standard. It just gives me something. It gives you something to do. I think that's my ADD acting up again. It gives me something to do whenever I'm driving. But yeah. So
awesome. Well, thank
that's
you
all.
guys. Yeah, thank you guys for those questions on Discord. That was Cheesecake again, but keep sending us questions. We'll keep shedding them out in some of these episodes here. Next, we have a couple points. These are kind of off the top, so they're probably not going to be super in depth.
Quick fire subjects to.
Yeah, let's. I guess we'll talk about Marvel first because it's shorter, much shorter. Sam told me some news before the podcast. I guess you could just tell us the news and we'll kind of go off that.
Are we starting with Marvel? Is that what you said?
Yeah, just because it's so short.
Okay, yeah. So this year is going to be the first time in 10 years that Marvel hasn't released a movie, which is, yeah, it's kind of excused because of this situation surrounding. They were supposed to release Black Widow in May, and honestly, I thought they had already released it on Disney Plus. I don't go on Disney Plus very often.
I thought there were supposed to be 2 this year. I thought was it the Eternals? Was that supposed to be this year, or is that 2021?
No, that's on down the road. I think that's going to be a TV show on Disney Plus, isn't it?
No, that's supposed to be a movie.
Oh, was it? Oh, well.
The TV shows were. Oh no! That was the Loki. The Loki TV show I think was supposed to come out by now, and I think there was another that was supposed to come out by now too. But those were. What's it called? Crap! It's like the alternate. You know how Marvel does like the alternate comics where like, what if Captain America was a girl, or what if Hawk was. I don't know.
Oh yeah, what if? Yeah.
That's what it's called. Yeah, the What If series. They were supposed to do one of those on Disney Plus too, but I don't think either of those have come out. I don't know what the plans are for those with COVID, but
I want to see WandaVision. I don't know why they would stall it because of. Well, I guess I do know why they would stall it because of COVID.
They don't keep on theaters. It says Loki is 2021 now.
Well, they moved the Batman to 2022.
Really?
Battinson, yep. Which I'm sad about. I'm really looking forward to that movie.
Yeah, you're more of a DC guy than I am.
Yeah, I know all of the Dark Knight fanboys out there are like, but my Christian Bale the best Batman ever. Just give it a chance. Ben Affleck was a good Batman. I love Batfleck.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a grittier look at Batman. It's not, and I know that Dark Knight was a gritty look, but it's gonna be a lot grittier look. It's gonna be more of a detective Batman and not a punch kick Batman.
I like the idea of it. I saw the trailer. I think it looks good. I'm gonna watch it for sure. I'll go see it in theaters. I mean, I don't know if it's something I'll end up buying, but I'll definitely go see it in theaters.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson was in a Netflix movie that just came out, The Devil All the Time. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
It's a pretty good one. Yeah, it's another one that needs a little bit of a content warning on there.
Oh my gosh!
But it's set in like the 60s. It's kind of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You remember we watched that?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It's kind of like that in that it like shows a few different people in their paths, and then their paths intersect at a certain event. It's got a really good lineup. It's got an all-star lineup. It's got Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Bill Skarsgård, and there's another really famous one. If you know, I don't know the actor's name, but it's the dad from the Pet Sematary remake.
Oh,
have you seen that?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Did you see the new Pet Sematary?
Do what?
Did you see the new one?
Yeah, I saw the new one.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was. I don't like scary movies, but it was a decent movie. Yeah.
It's not really a scary. It's more thriller than anything.
It's not. It's more of a thriller than it is anything, but it's just.
Jason Clarke. Does that sound right?
Jason Clarke. Yeah, I guess
Lewis,
so.
Was that his name? Lewis? Yeah, that's him, I think. Yeah. He's Australian. I did not know that.
Sebastian Stan.
I don't know who that is.
Sebastian Stan. That's Winter Soldier. That's Bucky.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep, he plays a corrupt sheriff.
That'd be a good role for him. He usually is really good with those like darker roles.
Oh yeah, he just has the face for it.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
He's got a punchable face.
I said that about somebody on one of the last podcasts, didn't I?
I don't remember.
I've called several people punchable. I just don't remember if I was recording or not.
Anyways, moving on. We've got some NFL stuff to talk about here. Steelers and Titans. Are they the last undefeated teams? For the Seahawks lost?
No, the Steelers, the Titans, and the Seahawks are the last 3 undefeated.
Okay. But the Steelers and Titans are playing, so we might. Well, we will be down to 2.
We're gonna have to go down to 2,
unless they tie, I guess. But
I mean, that would be a fun game to watch if they tied. We could be down to 1. I don't know who the Seahawks are playing this week, so we could be down to 1.
Seattle. Whoa, spelled that wrong. Seahawks are playing. It looks like the Cardinals. So Kyler Murray.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're probably still gonna have 2 undefeated teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Not that I'm a Seahawks fan, but I'm not worried about that one.
Yeah.
Looks like the next game after that's the 49ers. So the 49ers won't be a mess either. Now the Bills, that's the third one after that. That one might be a little more challenging, but
I think it'll be challenging, but I think it'll look like the Bills-Chiefs game from last week.
Oh yeah,
where there was a clear pull ahead.
Yeah, I could see that.
So who you got in the Steelers-Titans matchup?
I want to say the Titans because I have Ryan Tannehill now on my fantasy team. And I can't stand Ben Roethlisberger. That's the other reason. But I really, I don't know. I don't watch as much NFL as some people. I watch, usually, for the listeners out there, I'll watch the Jags and like half of the Dolphins game, and that's about it for the NFL.
Yeah, I could tell whenever I had to inform you that Tua was starting for your Dolphins.
No, they're not my Dolphins. I like them, but they're not my Dolphins. Now the Jags, I can tell you anything.
My gosh. But yeah, I think I'm going to have the Titans. That's mainly because Mike Vrabel is my new favorite NFL coach. I can't wait to watch Derrick Henry make the Steelers defense look like a middle school defense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's ridiculous.
Oh, he is. He's a cheat code. He is the new C-Mac.
Well, I think with the injury to Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, I would probably put him in the top 3 as far as running backs go.
Yeah.
I mean, who else?
I think I'd put him ahead of Kamara.
Zeke, Alvin Kamara, and probably Derrick Henry, or I would say probably the top 3 left in the league at the moment, without Saquon and McCaffrey.
Yeah. I think I'd go Zeke, Henry, Kamara. Really? I don't know, Kamara just hasn't produced much to me. I mean, he's produced a lot since Michael Thomas has been out.
I think Kamara is so consistent, though. That's the thing. Derrick Henry is kind of on and off. He is usually really good, but he does have those games where he doesn't play perfectly. Alvin Kamara is like always a solid running back. Like, he's going to get at least like 50 yards for you, maybe 60, 70, 80 yards, depending on the game.
Yeah. So, you think the Bengals made a good choice with Burrow?
I think they did. I think, and I kind of made a note here, I think they're really on and off. They're like, they look good at times. They look awful at times. It could just be the experience. It could be that Joe Burrow's only played 6 games at this point, 7 games in the NFL. But, I mean, they're not playing bad. I just don't think they're definitely not Super Bowl level. Don't get me wrong. But I think they're good enough to at least be like a wild card team if they kind of pick up the pace and start playing like they're supposed to be playing. But, I mean, they're still the Bengals. They're not a Seattle. They're not a Kansas City. They're Cincinnati.
Yeah, no. I think they're going to need a little bit more time before they can. I mean, they have the makings of it. They have Burrow.
They're getting there.
They have Joe Mixon.
Yep.
And they have. Do they still have Green? AJ Green?
Yeah, but I think he just got back. He was injured for a while.
Yeah. I think if they can get some good receivers, maybe a big old tight end.
Yeah, that'd be helpful for him. Like a Mike Gesicki or someone like that could transfer in.
A Jonnu Smith.
Someone that's like undervalued. I mean, depending on how they do this year, maybe they can pick up my boy Kyle Pitts from Florida. Kyle Pitts, hey, you're shaking your head at me. Kyle Pitts is by far the greatest tight end in college football right now. No question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
He's
Tim Tebow was
ridiculous.
the greatest quarterback in the NFL, wasn't he?
No, he was the greatest in college football, though. According to QBR, he was the greatest college football quarterback.
Oh, is that so?
According to QBR, yes.
Oh my gosh. All righty. Well, good.
What about Cowboys? What does their future look like without Dak?
Very bleak. I'm
Fair
seeing
enough.
heads rolling. Zeke had 2 fumbles this last week. The
Oh my
old red
God.
rifle that sighted in. I don't know who decided to name Andy Dalton the Red Rifle, but he's oh my god. I guess let's talk about the Browns.
Okay.
So the Browns are 4-2, but do you think they look like they're 4-2?
I think they look like they're 2-4. I think the Browns in any given year look like their season is going to crap. But I just think, like, even though they're 4-2, they don't look like a team that's won that many games. They look like a team that's taking a beating. Like, the Cowboys game looked good until the end when the Cowboys started to come back. They let Washington put up 20 points against them, and Dwayne Haskins is not good. The Steelers destroyed them, which looked about right. I mean, even the Colts put up 23 points against them, and the Colts are definitely rebuilding. So I think they're just not looking like the team that they're cracked out to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I want them to be good, but I don't think it's their year. As
So
much
this
as I would like it.
Yeah. This next segment, I saw something on ESPN the other day that said something about quarterbacks being traded and potential ones. Some of these are from that. Some of these are like things that I've seen and heard from other teams. I guess we'll start with the Jets. The big one that I saw was Sam Darnold possibly being traded away for a first-round pick. Do you think the Jets are ready to give up on Sam Darnold already?
They are. Are they still 0-5, or did they win one? I don't think they've won one.
I don't think they've won yet. Standings. The Jets are 0-6.
Yep. That was their game with the Broncos was the most unexciting game that should have been exciting.
I believe that. That 3 or 4 years ago would have been exciting.
Well, the reason I say it should have been exciting is because the situations around it was a tight game the entire time. They kind of like went back and forth. They had equal yards and stuff, but it was just there was nothing on the line. It didn't feel like it was a close game. But yeah, no, I think for a first round pick, they could get maybe like a Kyle Trask. Is Trask going to be up?
Trask will probably go to the NFL. Yeah, he's a senior, so he has to go. But I like Kyle Trask. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if he's an NFL quarterback. He's definitely a passer, so he's definitely set up to be more of like a Joe Burrow or a Patrick Mahomes type of guy. But he's not. I don't know. He's inconsistent, I guess. He can't get a team to rally behind him as often as he should, I think, for an NFL quarterback. I would compare him to like I'm trying to think of an example. Maybe like a Teddy Bridgewater, like someone that'll be in the NFL but won't be, or like Jake Fromm. I don't know, just someone that's there but also isn't there, if that makes sense.
Jake Fromm, the third string.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that they could take their chances on someone. Because Darnold's 1 or 2 years in.
I think you said something before. I thought he was a rookie. I think it is his second year. I think you're right. I think he got drafted the same year as Lamar Jackson. Right? Is this Lamar Jackson's second year or third year?
What year was Sam Darnold drafted? The 2018 was when he was drafted.
Okay, yeah. So that sounds right.
Yep. So he's a couple years into his pro career.
I guess, yeah. I didn't realize that. I thought he was a little younger. Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely worth seeing what you can get out of him. I think if they can get a top 15 pick, take it, sure, why not? But I mean, outside of that, I don't see a ton of value because I think the top 3 quarterbacks will probably go in the top 15. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, I don't know BYU's quarterback's name, and then South Dakota State. There's 4 solid quarterbacks this draft, and I don't know if they're going to last the second round.
Yeah. It's a solid take. Yeah, I see your next one on here, and I really wish somebody would. Jameis Winston away from New Orleans. I just don't like Winston. I liked Teddy. I like Teddy Bridgewater.
Did you?
I think he was a good one he filled in whenever Breeze was hurt, and he kind of kept it rolling.
Yeah.
He was just a fun quarterback. He rode his bike to the stadium on game day. He was just a fun quarterback. He was fun to watch.
Being a Florida fan, I sound biased. I hate Jameis Winston with a passion. There's not a single ounce of my being that likes Jameis Winston. I appreciate the fact that he threw like the second most amount of touchdowns last season, but he also threw more interceptions than he threw touchdowns. He threw like 40-some interceptions last season. So with that being said, I think it would be smart for New Orleans to get rid of him because they can probably get something for him. Like I think that he has enough value to bring them something, but I think it'd be smart for them to get rid of Jameis Winston, maybe try and trade up towards the end of this year and get a first-round pick and maybe take one of those top 4 guys in the draft. Because Drew Brees is kind of getting to the end of his career, and they need someone underneath him to learn for a year or 2 before he takes over.
Yeah. Yeah. They need to start finding his replacement, I think. I think he's on his way out.
Yeah. He's a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He is a great quarterback, but he's getting old.
Yeah. This last one that you have on here, I have no take on Jacoby Brissett. Is he even with the Colts? Is he still with the Colts? I know he started
with the Colts. Yeah. I mean, who wants Jacoby Brissett? That's kind of my viewpoint. Like maybe as a backup, like if that right there, that's actually a decent trade. Jameis Winston for Jacoby Brissett. Straight up, just those 2, 100%. No, nothing else. No trade. No draft picks. Just 1-for-1 quarterback trade. Might be helpful. I don't know. Maybe Jameis Winston would do better in the northern weather, not the hot, humid southern air he's used to down there.
Well, it would keep the crab legs cold for him.
But no, I mean I don't know if anyone wants Jacoby Brissett. I don't think he's worth trading your team away for. I think he's a good backup, but I don't know if he's anywhere near a starting level quarterback in the NFL.
Well, speaking of people that nobody wants, of somebody that nobody wants.
Oh, gosh.
Antonio Brown is coming off of his suspension this week. I didn't know he was still on suspension.
Yeah. He had like it was an 8-game suspension. It was half a season. I think it's 8 games, right?
Yeah, 8 games. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely insane, Antonio Brown. And the Seahawks apparently are one of many suitors. The last thing that the Seahawks need is another dumb receiver. We saw what happened with Metcalf 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Whenever he started celebrating, got the ball knocked out of his hand. That was a Mississippi boy at its finest. Oxford, Mississippi.
Hey, you guys made fun of me when I picked up Antonio Brown in our fantasy football league as the last pick. It's my last pick. I don't need a backup kicker. I'm going to take Antonio Brown. Why the heck not?
And now it may pay off. Who knows?
Well,
maybe he gets on the Seahawks and he and
he's a free agent
now. Oh, you dropped him? Oh.
Yeah, my team started to fall apart and I needed more space for like running backs and stuff like that, so I had to drop him. But yes.
My team started by falling apart. Yeah, well, that looks like all for today.
Yep. Well, thank you guys for listening in. We hope you guys like the podcast today. I know it's kind of all over the place, but give us a listen. Follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the major ones. We do have a Discord. Those links are on social media. You can message Samurai. We have a website. You can check that out. We also are kind of in the works with something else. Can't exactly say what it is yet, but we might have another site to share with you guys soon. That's all we have to say. So thank you guys for listening in. I hope to hear you guys next time. And yeah, that's it.